Without further ado, Meg Stapleton, a spokesperson for Sarah Pack, Governor Sarah Palin, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, Eddie. It's great to be on.
Yes, thank you so much. The FEC, according to Associated Press story, the Federal Election Commission has dismissed a complaint over the $150,000-plus designer wardrobe the Republican Party bought to outfit vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin. Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, the good government group that filed the complaint, argued that candidates aren't supposed to use donor money for personal expenses such as clothes. The FEC ruled Tuesday that the ban does not apply to party money. However, the Alaska governor was Senator John McCain's pick for vice president. The purchases from such high-end stores as Saks Fifth Avenue and Neiman Marcus drew criticism for Palin, the self-described hockey mom. Again, it seems like we're having this event once a week or twice a week, but another complaint dismissed against the governor.
Well, that's true, and we are so pleased to have yet another ethics complaint dismissed. I think if you go back to Eddie and look, and it was filed on October 23rd, and even if the merits of something are somewhat legitimate, the legitimacy comes, in my opinion, too, after the campaign is over. You don't start filing these things within a week or two of a conclusion of a campaign, because it shows the intent to just be, hey, let's draw some criticism and some questions here as to how ethical this person who has taken over office and really cleaned up government, let's cast some doubt on that, from her critics. And so the fact that it came in October 23rd really showed what the intent was of this ethics complaint. And then I'm glad, the FEC, they took a good look at the law. No one can complain in Alaska that, she appointed the FEC board. So it's great. It's another frivolous, complaint that has been dismissed. And, I look at some of the headlines even from this, and the left knows this is one of those things the media picks up on and runs with it. And I think one of the headlines was even Palin shopping spree, dismissed by the ethics FEC. And it's just, she didn't even buy a single thing. So it's a constant battle.
You're part of the political side of this. From a political point of view, I've thought that these ethics complaints, whether they're on a statewide level or a national level, they have really little to do with the complaint, but more to do about just throwing mud at the governor, because, we all know if you keep calling somebody a wife beater long enough, pretty soon they're a wife beater, right?
You bet. That is definitely the tactic. It's actually been, and maybe they've been a little sloppy in that, but it's been discussed quite openly by those who just can't stand the governor for the fact that she is breathing. And so it is a tactic. It's throw it up there as many times as you can, create anything, whether it's how she looks, what she wears, what she says, where she says it, just constantly pick, and eventually people will think that maybe she isn't as ethical as we once thought.
Right. It casts doubt, right?
What's that?
It ultimately casts doubt. It's really a political machine that's worked. It has some success to it if you're not out there fighting it constantly. Is that correct?
Yeah, you have to get out there and fight it. And the thing is, I remember even as a reporter, this became a game before, especially in the legislative races. This became a game, and you would cover them because the ethics complaints, you didn't know whether it was legitimate, and so you covered it, and then soon enough it became illegal to discuss those ahead of time, and I stopped covering them. Even though we knew, and people would try to leak them to us, we would say, you know what? No, it's against the law. You don't cover them. Well, you don't still have that same obligation that's felt, and on the ethics, on the executive side, there is no punishment. So it's, hey, let's create this sensational headline. Let's get a great, massive front page of the paper, and then the dismissal will be on, either buried in the show or buried in the newspaper as a minor paragraph. Oh, by the way, that one was dismissed. And so, it works, and that's why they keep doing it.
Right. Yesterday, I was talking about some of these complaints, and I mentioned Zane Henning. His wife, Val Henning, as you know, Mr. Henning has filed an ethics complaint against the governor. His wife, Val, called the show in somewhat of a frantic mode, and I said, well, your husband's filed one, and she readily said, and, we got the tape, I can play it back, I may file one too. and what caught me on her statement there is that it wasn't about whether or not she thought the governor had done anything wrong. It was just that, and since I can file one, I'm going to too. And I thought it was just what an abuse of the ethics complaint system. And we also know that these are being orchestrated. I mean, you can read the liberal blogs, and it's just it's out there.
Well, and the thing is, I think it was the last dismissal. I can't keep track of them because the dismissals are coming in so fast, which is just incredible. But the last one said, "Look, I think Alaskans, in their quest to bring someone so popular across this nation down, they are confusing ethics with politics." And They may disagree with the governor on, you know what, we don't want gas for Alaskans and Americans, so let's shoot her down. But the thing is, okay, that's a political discussion. That doesn't mean anything unethical was done.
Well, I think that's
they're confusing that.
I think that's a point that, let's see, we have invited Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Government on today's show. They have declined, just so that people know that. They're the people who filed this ethics complaint against the governor with the FEC. I had a question for you from an email. It says, how does Meg respond to national pundits that says Governor Palin needs to have more presence on the national stage? This is a quote from a recent Politico article. What she really needs is somebody who has good political sense to move to Alaska, said a Washington-based Republican who wants her to succeed. And until that happens, she is going to continue to floundering. It's pretty tough for the governor to get out on the national stage because every time she does, her critics are throwing dirt clods at her.
Oh, exactly. And it's kind of, I laughed when I read that because that's exactly what we're trying to get away from, is that inside the Beltway mentality that in order to be successful in this world, you got to be one of us, and you have to listen to us, and we only have the right way to do it. And they keep messing things up in their own personal and national ambitions for her, and they're fighting against the governor's constant quest and constant she's always out there saying, my focus is on Alaska, and her constant need to focus on Alaska and desire to focus on Alaska, and the people who, it's very flattering in one sense, they see her as the future.
Yeah.
So you got to get out there, and you got to be a part of us, and you got to come to these parties, and you got to join this circuit of friends, and you got to... No, actually, she's focused on getting gas to Alaskans, and now the in-state bullet line, and that requires a lot of attention, and she can't do that. Well, no, she has to, and so it is a constant give and take, and I mean, we, meaning the political side of the governor, is just focused on Alaska, too. We're not out there saying, okay, there's going to be this...
All right. Hey, Meg, we're speaking with Meg Stapleton, spokesperson for SarahPac.org, SarahPac.org. Hey, can you stick with us another segment?
Sure, you bet, Eddie. Okay,
thank you. Meg Stapleton will be right back. If you have any questions or concerns, 274-5297, 866-610-5297, or you can always email me at eddie@kbyr.com. We'll be right back.